Are you wondering if Keansburg, New Jersey is the right town for you? Well, good news, I got just a video for you. Today we're going over the top pros and cons of what it's like to live in Keansburg. So hopefully after the video is over, you'll understand if it's the right town for you or not. But before we get started, if it's your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you're the first one to know what's going on in either Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get the video started. The very first pro is going to be location. And as you can see, Keansburg is going to be located in the most northeastern part of Monmouth County. And there's a couple of different reasons why I think this is a very solid pro to have. Now, first one's just going to be you have beach access. You're going to have the Jersey Shore available to you. We have about 130 miles of coastline here in New Jersey, and this is pretty much going to be the most northern part of it. Sandy Hook, which is right there, is going to be the most northern part, and Keansburg's right next to it. So you're going to have beach access, which obviously not every town is going to have. The second part, which is probably most important to a lot of people, is going to be the proximity to New York City. Now, there's a couple different ways you can commute into New York City, and a lot of people, what they do is they'll work in the city, make a little bit better money, but then have an overall better quality of life here in Jersey. It's very common to have. Now, you can drive yourself, take the train, the bus, or even take the ferry. Driving yourself is pretty self-explanatory. The best route available is going to be Route 36 to 35 to the Garden State Parkway, and then figuring it out from there depending on which part of New York City you got to get to. And then afterwards, the bus will probably be the next best one in my opinion. There's going to be an Academy bus route right off of Route 36 over there. That's more than likely probably going to be about an hour 15 to an hour and a half-ish, probably close to that hour and a half mark, I would say. And then there's two more options. You're going to have the train and the ferry. The train and ferry, the train is going to be a little bit farther away, so you're going to have to drive to a different destination first. Keansburg doesn't have their own station, so you're either going to probably have to go to Hazlet or Middltown. So more likely than not, I'd probably just hop on the Hazlet one just because it's a stop ahead of time. The ferry is going to be located in Middltown or Belford, which is a part of it pretty much. Belford is going to be, if you have to get to the Wall Street district, I would say about a 45-minute commute over there. The ferry out of all the public transportations though will be the most expensive, and there are more stops than just Wall Street. You can go up to Midtown and a couple of other destinations. So in general, the ferry might be the fastest, but also probably going to be the costliest, unfortunately. Con number one is going to be that's in a flood zone. So majority of Keansburg, if not all of it, I'm pretty sure, is going to be located in a flood zone. And while it's not going to flood just for any typical rainstorm, if we do have a heavy winds, heavy rains, that kind of thing, it will unfortunately flood. It's just obviously you're close to the beach, right? You're right on there. You're going to have a lower elevation for your town. It's just how it's going to happen. So the last one that had really bad damage was going to be Hurricane Sandy or Superstorm Sandy. It was a hurricane and nor'easter combined into one, and it did quite a bit of damage to the Keansburg area. A lot of flooding, and a lot of homes since then, once they got rehabbed or renovated, they've actually been raised. So not all of them have been, maybe about 30-40%, but if you are looking at that area and that's something that's going to be important to you, definitely recommend having that. But on top of being in a flood zone, you're also going to have flood insurance on your residence, unfortunately. So that's just going to be an added cost that you have to add in. This is a separate policy from your regular homeowners insurance, so just make sure that's baked in. So you'll have to have a homeowners insurance policy and a flood insurance. Not every carrier is going to be insuring that anymore. They've been getting a little tight, I guess, if you want to call it that, with their budgets and then just what they're actually insuring for. I know Florida is having a very big difficulty down there with a lot of carriers pulling out, but there are some that are in New Jersey that are still going to write for flood insurance, so not really a big deal. And depending on if your home is raised or where you're kind of located, that's just going to be depending on the cost as well. So that is one con. Unfortunately, you are in a flood zone living in Keansburg. Pro number two is going to be the affordability aspect. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos on the channel, you'll notice that typically either cost of living, affordability is almost indefinitely going to be on the cons or negative sides of most towns here, the county in general. So why is Keansburg on the affordable side? Well, the biggest reason in my opinion is just going to be the real estate prices. The median sales price for a house here in Keansburg is going to be $350,000, whereas for Monmouth County as a whole is going to be $680,000. So you're talking almost just under about half the price for the rest of the county. Now, why is that? Well, we just mentioned, again, that's going to be in a flood zone, so sometimes that could be a little less desirable, and that did have quite a bit of damage on it for a while, so the town had to be basically, not necessarily rebuilt, but had to be revitalized a little bit. It also was going on a little bit of a downward trend, I would say, in the maybe 80s, 90s, and again, it's starting to get a lot of money pumped into it and then be on the more up-and-coming side, right? Something like we've seen in Asbury Park in the past, and now it's starting to get a lot better over there. So millions of dollars have been getting pumped into it, and it is, in my opinion at least, probably the last affordable spot on the Jersey Shore, right? You're going to have beach access. There's going to have an amusement and water park, not a massive one. It's not the size of Six Flags or anything, but still a nice attraction to have, and they are building the town up. So most beach towns in our area, you're talking Belmar, Asbury, Avon, whichever one you want to pick, Long Branch, another one, your average sales price over there is going to be upwards of $700,000-$800,000, pretty much on the low end. If you want a decent single-family home in Belmar, you're looking at the seven-figure range. So the fact that you can get into a place like this as cheap as it is, and then possibly let it rise and just massively rise in appreciation, seems like a win-win in that part. Con number 2 is going to be the school systems and education. Kind of like we just talked about the town not being there just yet, this is also going to be one of the reasons. And it's, again, opposite of what Monmouth County typically is, right? So Monmouth County, at least according to niche.com, which I use, I know Great Schools is another big website that people go off of. Most of the school districts here in Monmouth County are going to be top-notch. Most of them are rated in the A- range, if not B+. Keansburg, according to niche.com, is going to be rated a C-. House about 1,600 students and has a 17-to-1 student-teacher ratio. There's going to be one elementary, middle, and high school. So it's not going to be a larger district. So when you're talking about the lower home prices, lower taxes relatively compared to the rest of Monmouth County, you're going to have limited funding, and it's just not as big of a town too. So you're not going to have, some type of like Freehold, Marlboro, Manalapan, like those are much larger towns. You have Colts Neck with all higher home prices too. So just in looking at that, at least, you're not going to see as much funding available to a place like Keansburg, and maybe their school district might suffer a little bit. Now, the fact that the town's being revitalized, it's up and coming, prices are rising pretty heavily. This could easily turn around within the next couple of years, but it might take a little bit of time. So for right now, I would say this is a con, at least especially compared to the rest of Monmouth County. And before we head on over into our next couple points, if you're enjoying the video so far, also getting some value from it, please smash the like button down below and help me get this out to as many people as possible. And comment what's your favorite part about Keansburg so far, what's your least favorite, if you're thinking about moving there, all that kind of stuff. Would love to hear it. But with that being said, let's get back to the content you came here for. Pro number 3 will be the different amenities that you have over in Keansburg. We've already mentioned it briefly, but you're going to have the Keansburg Amusement Park and Runaway Rapids Water Park. That's going to be like the more northern part of Keansburg, closer to the water. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of tourism that's coming throughout the summer there, but also just for the people that live in the town all year round. It's just a different attraction you're going to have that obviously most places aren't going to have. Then on the amenity side, you're also going to have different places you can go shopping, dining, and that kind of thing. Route 36 and 35 are going to be jam-packed with a lot of different restaurants, just food stores, convenience stores, all that kind of thing. Whereas maybe in Keansburg specifically, not as much, but you're not going to be any closer or any farther than 5, 10, maybe at the most 15 minutes away from probably the store that you're going to need to go to. You'll have food stores like Costco, and I mean, Costco is realistically everything nowadays. ShopRite's going to be over there. You have Target over in Middltown. So just up and down Route 35 and 36, you'll have unlimited access to anything that you're pretty much going to need. Con number 3 will be the aging infrastructure over in Keansburg. Now, there's a couple different ways to look at this one. So obviously, we already mentioned a lot of different monies being pumped into the township, so that's a great thing, and it's being revitalized. So that's on the positive side. On negatives, we are looking at, typically it's Keansburg, so older homes that that were made maybe the mid 1900s or 1950s, I would say, maybe a little bit earlier than that. So a couple different variances with that. Obviously, being an older home, more maintenance is going to come up eventually on the place, so you're gonna have to kind of a budget up accordingly for that. Sometimes the bedrooms can also be smaller. This is not uncommon, especially in that area. And then 3, the lot size. Usually, given that you're going to be living near the water in a beach town in a sense, and especially that's what Keansburg was at one point, big destination area, you're gonna have smaller lot sizes because the town wants to put as many people into a space as possible, because tourism is a big part of New Jersey's economy. So your lot size will be a little bit tinier. Some people, if you're lucky enough, you might have a double lot, which is absolutely massive in a place like that. So just be aware about it. More maintenance on these houses. They're going to be a little bit older, and the lot size probably typically on most cases going to be smaller. That'll be the pros and cons on Keansburg. If you have any questions on the place after watching this video, maybe something I didn't cover, you want to know more on, feel free to just comment it down below. I'd love to answer any questions for you that you might still have. And if you're looking to move to the area, whether it's Keansburg, Monmouth County, or just in general, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is down low in the comments and description. So whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year out, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. If you're looking to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, check out 2 videos popping up and hopefully help you out a bit too. Have a great day.